Welcome to this video all about kickstarting your studies at BGU. My name is Steph Bennett and I work in the Learning Development team to support all of BGU students with their academic skills and assignments. As mature students, you may have some concerns or anxieties about starting your degree. You may have been out of education for a long time, or you might have additional commitments such as a family or career. So here are some tips and tricks to succeeding at university. And the good news is, you probably have these skills already. Let me introduce you to growth mindset and grit. So let's think about mindset first. Mindset is about perception and interpretation. What's your outlook on the world? Having a positive mindset can help you be successful in your studies at BGU because you can better overcome challenges. So what's your current mindset? Take a moment to reflect on what you think about intelligence as a concept. Is intelligence predetermined, or do we have a lot of influence over our own intelligence? What do you think deep down about your intelligence level? Now consider the following 4 statements. Number 1, your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much. Number 2, you can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. Number 3, no matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. Or number 4, you can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Which of these 4 statements do you believe to be true? And do you think this is true for yourself? It's easy to fall into the mindset of statements 1 or 2 and feel that we can't improve or build on our intelligence level. We might even worry that the older we get, the harder it is to make these changes. This is what we call a fixed mindset, but the truth is, these viewpoints aren't really true. Believing these statements to be true can negatively impact our mindset and self-confidence. So, we're aiming for statement 4, that intelligence is something we can change and develop. And this is known as growth mindset, and it can positively impact our self-belief and allow us to see opportunities for learning. Fixed and growth mindsets have been most famously explored by Dr. Carol Dweck, a psychologist and former teacher. Dweck conducted a lot of investigations into how children and adults learn and how they view themselves in terms of intelligence, natural talent, and effort. In one experiment, she divided a group of school children into 2 and presented each group with a set of problems to solve. Most of the children were able to solve the problems, but one group were praised for being clever, suggesting their intelligence was an innate trait, while the other group were praised for working hard, suggesting that effort was the cause of their success. Then, both groups were presented with a harder set of problems to tackle, or they could choose to continue at the level they were already comfortable with. And what do you think happened? Well, the children in the group who had been praised as being naturally intelligent were less inclined to attempt the harder problems. However, the children praised for their efforts were much more willing to attempt the challenge. This is a growth mindset in action. If we feel our intelligence is fixed, there's less incentive to push ourselves to achieve or exceed our perceived limits. However, if we feel our intelligence knows no bounds, this removes barriers to learning and allows us to listen to and act on feedback. So how does this apply to you? Well, a growth mindset is an effective way to approach your BGU studies, particularly when you face setbacks. It helps you to build resilience to see challenges as learning opportunities, and it'll certainly stand you in good stead to succeed in your degree, even if you do fall back into the occasional fixed mindset, which we all do at times. Just know that whatever period in your life you begin studying, you are just as capable of learning and developing as anyone else. Neuroscience supports this. When you learn new information, new pathways are formed in your brain, and the more you learn or relearn that information, the more these pathways are strengthened. This process, called myelination, can continue throughout your life. It doesn't necessarily come to a stop at a particular age. This is great because it means we can all grow and develop our intelligence regardless of age. It also supports Dweck's idea that intelligence is not fixed because we are literally capable of adapting and strengthening our own neural pathways. And it reinforces the idea that effort and practice are more important than any natural talent or ability. In fact, in one of Dweck's studies, top music college students were studied to see what traits help them to succeed in becoming better musicians. Students who had always been told they were naturally gifted seemed to struggle to improve when they reached college level. But students who put in more hours of practice showed greater improvement through their growth mindset, as they understood practice and effort would help them to develop their skills. This will be the same in your academic studies. Even if you feel unconfident in your own academic talents right now, or even if you find that you compare yourself to your classmates, just remember practice and effort are better indicators for growth and development. Success looks different for everyone, and everyone takes their personal pathway to success. If you can't do something right now, it doesn't mean it'll always be that way. You need to practice looking at situations differently, setting aside your initial instinct to be self-critical, almost like an optical illusion for your brain. Optical illusions work because of our initial reaction or interpretation. The more we look at an image, the more we start to see it differently. It takes time, and sometimes we even take someone else's help. For example, look at this picture. Do you see an old lady or do you see a young lady? The truth is both can be seen depending on how you look at the image. Here's another example. Take a look at this dancer. Which way is she turning, clockwise or anti-clockwise? Give it a few minutes and you might find that she even changes direction. It's all about how you view the images, just like it's all about how we view the challenges and situations we face in life. So if you have a tendency towards a fixed mindset, treat it like an optical illusion. Your brain might be telling you one thing, but it doesn't mean that another perspective isn't also possible. So give it some time, ask for help if you need to, and you'll get into the habit of attacking situations with a growth mindset. The next concept we'll look at is grit. Grit has been explored by Dr. Angela Duckworth. Duckworth was originally a school teacher who was interested in why some of her students succeeded and why others didn't, regardless of their IQ levels. From her studies of adults and children, she determined that IQ is not necessarily a great predictor of success in reaching long-term goals. The common trait is grit. Grit is a blend of perseverance and passion for a long-term goal. This combination was consistently a better predictor of success among groups like Ivy League students, military cadets, and even contestants in spelling bees. It also aligns nicely with Dweck's ideas about natural intelligence because it reiterates that effort and practice are more important. Grit helps us to stay motivated on a long-term project. Duckworth suggests that people who have more grit are more resilient and they can bounce back from setbacks or disappointments. They're also able to keep themselves motivated across long periods of time, and they can generally adapt better to different situations and change their own practice to reach their final goal. Funnily enough, resilience, self-motivation and adaptability are essential traits for succeeding in your BGU studies. And your degree is definitely a long-term project. Success doesn't happen overnight, but you'll arrive where you want to be by the end of your course. So get your grit on. Remember your passion for your subject and why you're here. Setbacks are great for your growth. And just as I said before, success is different for everyone. It can be smaller successes like reading a chapter of a new course book, or bigger successes like achieving a certain grade on an assessment. Celebrate the small milestones in the same way you celebrate the bigger ones. And think of these things whenever you feel your motivation waver. In fact, why not take a moment to think about something you have achieved so far in your life? Maybe it was a career goal, or you've raised a family, or you've passed your driving test, or you've overcome a fear. Now think about what helped you to achieve it. What traits and characteristics did you have to draw on? Now you have these, let's put them into the context of what Duckworth uses to measure grittiness on her website. Her grit scale includes the following characteristics. How many of these qualities did you demonstrate in achieving your own personal goals? If you recognise some of these qualities in yourself, you already have some grittiness. And team these with a growth mindset and you're ready to tackle your studies. Even if you didn't hit some of these traits, remember that you can develop them with a growth mindset. So let's tie this up and think about how you can kickstart your studies at BGU. Keep building on this idea of everything you've already achieved, both big and small. Make a list of all of those achievements and remember, if it's important to you, then it's definitely worth adding to the list. Now, look over those achievements. Think about why each one makes you proud. Often, our proudest achievements were the most challenging and they didn't come easy to us. Proud achievements have usually involved teachable moments and acquiring new skills. Now, add studying at BGU to that list and write down your motivations for studying. And every time you feel challenged during your studies, come back to this list and remind yourself of these motivations. Use growth and grit to set you back on track to success. All of the other skills like essay writing or referencing will come with time. And if you need additional support with these things, you can always email learningdevelopment at learningdevelopment@bishopg.ac.uk to discuss what support is available. In the meantime, I wish you every success in your studies and I look forward to meeting you soon.